There are two types of people in the Benchwarmers Podcast. People that look smart. The people who look like they're about to go rob a bank or almost complete professional. Indeed.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Benchwarmers Podcast. As usual, I'm joined by my co-host, Sykes.
Good to be here, Gab.
Yes, and we'd like to apologise first off. We were meant to be having more episodes come out than has actually come out, but unfortunately, we've had a few interviews rescheduled, as well as I've been self-isolating this week due to the coronavirus. I haven't had it, should probably say that out there. It came out negative, but nevertheless, we wanted to be safe because we went to a non-league game, didn't we, Josh, on Saturday?
We did, and it was a rather entertaining affair.
Yeah, 4-0, I think it was in the end.
4-0 to Liverpool against Eccles Hill, and hopefully we will be at another one this Saturday, potentially getting a vlog out. We're not too sure.
Yeah.
Keep you posted on that.
Yeah, let us know if you want to see that, because it's something we've been considering doing for a while, but obviously the coronavirus came, kind of messed everything up a bit. But yeah, nonetheless, we're going to be moving straight away from non-league to the Premier League, because, well, what a weekend of Premier League football. Yeah, Josh, do you want to start off with one of the bigger results?
I'd love to get started with one of the big results, because for the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to be ripping into Liverpool and Manchester United, because we are definitely...
What an episode.
Because we're qualified to do so, obviously. So, this weekend saw... well, it first saw Manchester United be annihilated by Tottenham 6-1. And then straight afterwards, it saw Liverpool be annihilated by Aston Villa 7-2. So I'm going to go into depth on the Liverpool-Aston Villa. Gav's going to go into depth on the Man U-Tottenham game. And basically, we're just going to talk to you about how bad each of those teams are at the minute. Aston Villa had 30% possession during the game compared to Liverpool's 70%. Aston Villa had 18 shots, 11 of which were on target, which it just shows how good Aston Villa's attack is at the minute. The likes of Ollie Watkins, Jack Grealish and John McGinn, all on form, as well as Trezeguet, all playing really, really well. As for Liverpool, from their 70% possession, they managed only 14 shots, and 8 of which were on target. Mohamed Salah was the man on form for the Merseyside outfit. Mane is currently self-isolating, so Diogo Jota, it's not Diego, I learned that today. Diogo, I learned that today. Thank you, HITC Sport. So I've got to admit, we've got to put our sources in. Otherwise, it's plagiarism, innit? It's college.
I don't know what's going on.
Aston Villa had 194 passes, Liverpool's 504. But from their 30% possession, Villa managed 6 clear-cut chances, whereas the goals came from an Ollie Watkins perfect hat-trick, a John McGinn deflected volley, a Ross Barkley deflected strike, and 2 Jack Grealish goals. It could have been a hell of a lot worse for Liverpool. Ross Barkley had 2 good opportunities in the first half and he failed to capitalise. Both were golden opportunities and he should have scored. It's not like one of those ones where he could have. He definitely should have scored. Liverpool's goals both came from Mohamed Salah. So let's go into a bit of analysis on the game. Liverpool played their traditional high-line, high-pressing football. Aston Villa tended to sit back and try to get them on the break, purely for the fact that Liverpool's line was probably about 5 yards too high. This allowed Villa to just exploit the gaps in behind. Trent was playing extremely high, which allowed Grealish to get in behind. Often he received the ball, tended to turn Trent or just play the pass to Watkins, who was kind of running through the channel between Trent and Gomez. That allowed for quite a few goals, especially Villa's second, which came from that exact scenario. Grealish receives the ball, passes it to Watkins, who charges down, cuts inside on Joe Gomez and fires it into the goal. Speaking of Gomez, he was poor, atrocious.
Yeah,
for that matter. His defender, he was out of position. He didn't look comfortable on the ball. He didn't look comfortable out of possession. It left Virgil van Dijk having to cover him for quite a large amount of the game, which then left his side vulnerable. But a lot of the attack was coming from Jack Grealish down the left-hand side. The one good thing that came from Trezeguet was probably the cross into Watkins, which allowed for his header in the second half to complete his perfect hat-trick. Was it? No, it was a first-half perfect hat-trick. My mistake.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, the ball comes to Trezeguet, whips the ball in, header in the back of the goal. Adrian, what can you really say about Adrian? I mean, let's face it, he's not an Alisson. He's not good enough, really. Liverpool brought him in as a backup goalkeeper, not really expecting him to play a lot last season.
And is Alisson injured?
Yeah, he's either injured or COVID, either one of the two.
Okay.
Last season, he ended up playing the first 4 or 5 games, I think, made a couple of good saves, but also made a couple of errors. Then didn't really play much for the rest of the season. He played, obviously, the game against Villa. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they go and shove a 17-year-old in there, or even the local 7-year-old from their youth academy, because they do better than Adrian. I mean, for the first goal, the ball's played back to him. He's got Ollie Watkins bearing down on him. He's got one clear option, just hoof it up the pitch. And what does he do? Play it to his right, to Joe Gomez. It's a wayward pass. Grealish pounces, passes it across to Watkins, who takes a touch, composes, and slots it home with his left foot. For an opportunity that was missed in the second half, Adrian comes about 6 yards off his line, the complete opposite direction to the ball. Luckily for him, it misses. But I was sat watching the game thinking, why are you so far out of where you should be? Not only are you off your line, you've gone to the wrong place. The ball was to his left, he's gone to his right. What that man was thinking is beyond me. But let's look at Aston Villa for a second. Dean Smith hadn't set up a maze of them. They sat back, countered, and honestly, we're on the front foot. Well, they look the better team in the attack, let's put it that way. There is no way anyone expected it to be 7-2.
No, definitely.
When we go into our predictions later, you'll see, Gab, yes, you predicted a 1-0 Villa upset.
Woo!
But not even a proper Villa fan could have ever predicted Liverpool to win by the amount they did.
The other way around, Villa to win by the amount they did.
What?
You said Liverpool to win by the amount they did. Unless you just lagged and completely messed me up there, but I don't know.
Well,
anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
No, not that.
Villa fan could never have predicted Villa to win by the amount they did. Especially not against a team like Liverpool, who last season were so good defensively and so good going forward. They looked off it. They looked behind the ball. They always looked to be a yard behind when Villa were attacking. Yes, that could be because their line was so high, but also, honestly, I can't tell you. If we look at end of last season, Liverpool played quite poorly towards the back end of it once they'd won the title after they'd come back from lockdown. But this was an atrocious display from them. Like, honestly, the worst performance I have seen under Jurgen Klopp. I'd put it as being a worse performance than when they lost 6-1 to Stoke under Brendan Rodgers. Honestly.
I mean, yeah, you've got to give full credit to Aston Villa as well.
It was a disastrous performance from Liverpool, not worthy of them currently holding the Premier League. And if they continue like that for the rest of this season, they won't make Europe.
Well, hopefully they don't, because that'd make our predictions great. No. We predicted to finish Champions League, didn't we? We both predicted fourth for it.
To finish fourth, but if they carry on displaying like that, it wouldn't surprise me if they finish fifth, if they finish something like sixth, because that was atrocious.
Yeah.
On to Man U, Gab. Off you go.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I was just waiting. Yeah, I didn't want to win there. We should have probably discussed that before. Elsewhere on Sunday, there was another absolute thrashing, but this time, rather at, I don't know if Villa were at home. Were Villa at home?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it was at Old Trafford, and Manchester United hosted Tottenham Hotspur in a absolute Spurs drumming. It resulted 6-1 to Tottenham. I'd also like to apologise for a start because I've got a terrible cold, so I'm trying to not ruin the entire podcast. Yeah, goals from Ndombele, Son Heung-min got 2 of them, Harry Kane got 2 of them, and Serge Aurier, and he got a goal as well. Bruno Fernandes, however, did actually give Manchester United the lead in the second minute of a penalty, but we're going to be getting onto him in a couple of minutes, really, about how I think he personally is really overrated compared to some of the other players in the league. But I think the main thing you've got to focus on here is Manchester United's defending, because that was honestly the worst defending I've ever seen. It was absolutely abysmal. Harry Maguire should be ashamed of himself, if we're being completely honest. I remember watching, I can't remember which goal, I think it was Ndombele's goal, where Obviously, it's just bobbling around in the box. It's a bit of a goalmouth scramble, to be fair to him. Everyone's fallen over the floor. I think it's Luke Shaw, I think it might have been, was going in for the tackle. And Harry Maguire seems to grab him, like, not throw him in front of the ball. It seems to pull him away from the ball. So it eventually deflects to Ndombele, who has a, well, not simple finish, but just fires it into the back of the net. You've got to be expecting better from your captain there. I think 18 million for him was absolutely just... Man United fans starting to see it themselves. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think, if I'm being honest, I think his place at England should be in jeopardy because, I mean, you could argue the same for Joe Gomez right now. Obviously, Gomez didn't have as big of a shocker as Harry Maguire, you might say, but still, Maguire, honestly, he looks more like Dennis Domenish right now than he does himself because people say he looks like him. But nevertheless, in terms of stats, Man United were absolutely dominated. Tottenham Hotspur had 62% possession, whereas Man United had 38. Tottenham had 22 shots compared to Manchester United's 5. 8 of those 22 were on target, 2 of Man United's 5 were on target. And when you look at the actual fouls, Manchester United committed 14 fouls, whereas Tottenham were just 11. That, again, comes down to the absolutely just shoddy defending which was going on between the actual, well, unorganised Ole Gunnar Solskjaer defence, which was. Jose Mourinho went into this game with a good tactic strategy for the fact that he made new signing Sergio Reguilon, which is a second, I've completely lost it here. Yeah. I'm on the wrong page, that's why I've lost it. Sergio Reguilon, obviously he was a target for Manchester United. However, what Mourinho did well was he made Reguilon and he made Aurier push up because he knew that Greenwood and Rashford wouldn't track back to actually stop the attacking presence that those two do actually hold. So they could then combine with Eric Lamela and Son on the wings to really just, outnumber the Manchester United defence, which probably didn't help their case. It was a good tactical strategy from Mourinho, which clearly paid off in the end. In terms of just generally this Man United squad, to put it into perspective, the last time Spurs beat Manchester United like that was in 19... Sorry, that's where I told you, so I've completely lost it again.
32, wasn't it?
1932, and that was also a 6-1 result. That's the heaviest ever defeat from Tottenham Hotspur to Man United, and it's happened again now in 2020. What a weird year.
Do you want to see my notes on Harry Maguire?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
From my research beforehand, this is my notes on Harry Maguire.
Fridge, not worthy of armband. I mean, yeah.
That is literally my notes on Harry Maguire that I've got down before, and I've got a couple of notes on other Man U players, which I'll go into. But as you were saying, Maguire defensively was woeful, atrocious, an atrocity. When who was it? Oh, it was Martial got sent off.
Which was shocking, by the way. I was going to get onto that. That is never a sending off in a million years.
Not a chance. And if it is a sending off, then Lamela has to go as well. Because Lamela elbowed Martial first.
Yeah, Lamela kind of like caused it.
Yeah, but that's not the point I'm getting at. The point I'm getting at is when Martial is sent off, Rashford goes to the referee. How is that a red? Maguire turns around to the referee. Maguire turns around to Rashford and goes, because he hit him.
Oh, 1 second. There we go. Yep.
Because he hit him. That is not what you want from a captain. When you're captain, you want him to be charging to the referee, telling his players to go away, and demanding the referee to explain why that was a sending off, not turning around to one of your own teammates who has more balls than you and go, no, it was a sending off. Just calm down, Marcus, you know.
Yeah, I also think with that sending off, then again, it's sort of like a strategy from, not necessarily maybe from Mourinho, but more from Lamela here. But you know, it's so much easier to play against a team when they've got 10 men. That's just really obvious. But when they actually, that sort of mental barrier they have to get over to get back into the game, because at this time I think Man United were 3-1 down, I believe.
2-1,
2-1 when Martial got sent off. And that mental barrier to get back into that game is massive, to be fair.
Yeah, but by that point, though, they should have been about 4-5-1 down anyway. It's not the fact that they were 2-1 down at that point. It's the fact that they could have been 4 or 5 down. Man U were that poor that Tottenham could have walked away from that game in double figures.
Yeah, but I think also in terms of the actual defending, whilst Harry Maguire is going to get a lot of stick because he was just absolutely shocking, Eric Bailly and even Matic in that sort of CDM role that you were playing, them two need to do better as well, because with Bailly's hostile pass that he sort of was cut out by Kane on the edge of the box before it eventually led to Spurs' goal. That was shocking. Obviously, they were trying to pass it out from the back as well at one point where I think it was Bailly gave it into Matic, because we were talking about before and I thought Matic was Maguire, where Matic instantly just, he's asleep, he's lazy, loses the ball, Tottenham goal. And it keeps happening time and time again. And of course, De Gea's going to get hit in goal because conceding 6. People are going to be shouting for Dean Henderson to come in between the sticks. But you look at some of the defending going on, he hasn't got much chance, if you're being completely honest with him, because he's played against world-class players like Son and Kane, and he's got Dennis Demenis and I don't know who Bailly looks like, to be honest with you, in front of him, causing absolutely shoddy defending.
Yeah.
I think... Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, for one of the goals, a free keeps given away on the halfway line. Harry Kane gets the free kick, looks up, sees Son running and sees how asleep Manchester United defenders are. They just switched off. So Kane looks up, sees Son run, plays it through to him, and then he's one-on-one with De Gea and slots it past him. As a world-class team, which is what supposedly Man U are, you should not be switching off at all until the whistle goes for half-time or full-time. In that situation that they expected Tottenham to not play the quick ball, for them to reset up and go for a long ball into the box from an actual set piece. They did not expect them to take that quick ball. But when you're Kane in that scenario, under Mourinho, he's playing a deeper role. He's allowed much more freedom and he's actually creating a lot more. Like, he's on 6 assists this season, the most in the Premier League. Yes, 4 came from Southampton. But what you've got to remember is he's a striker. And they've always got good vision as a striker. You've got to be able to look at where your opponents are. He spotted Bailly, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, and Luke Shaw, Pogba. The entire team had switched off. He plays the ball through to Son, who just slots it past De Gea because Bailly doesn't have time to come and cover. Because he's out of position, he's not switched on, he's not even looking at the ball. That's how poor Manchester United are.
And I think you've got to look at some of the words that Patrice Evra said after the game in his actual post-match sort of breakdown, how he doesn't obviously condone violence. However, the Man United players deserve a slap, and you've kind of got to agree with that, not going to lie. I mean, if Blamen FC did that, Sykes, what would you do as a manager?
What? Yeah, I would genuinely slap you all. Genuinely, that was, like, put it this way, I'd expect that from us.
I'm going to say.
I'd expect that type of performance from us. But at the same time, a Sunday League team would defend better than that.
I mean, my back thought we won what score? If you go like 9, no, it was something like, oh God, it was like 8-0 if we won at weekend.
But what I'm saying is, the game we went to watch on Saturday, the defending we saw from Liverpool was better than that.
To be fair, what that guy
Manchester United.
That guy that he scored 2 goals from defence. I can't remember what he was called now.
They're number 5.
What?
They're number 5.
Yeah, he deserves a chance at a higher level, to be fair to him.
No, but I'm saying the defending we witnessed in that game from Liverpool was better than that of Manchester United. The defending that was witnessed by any team in the league apart from Liverpool this weekend was better than Manchester United. Their defence is shocking.
Kevin Tarangadso for Liverpool, that's his name.
You've got yourself a plug, mate. You're definitely watching this podcast. The way Manchester United cuts it up from now on, against big teams, Manchester United should be playing a midfield 4, a diamond.
Yeah.
Because then you can play Donny van der Beek, Paul Pogba as your 2 wider players in that diamond. Your deep line player can be someone like Matic. Your forward player can be Bruno Fernandes, who, yes, he's not a dynamic 10, but he can still play that role. And your forwards are Rashford and Martial. So the idea is then you've got Pogba and Van der Beek given the freedom to run in between the channels. They've got midfield superiority against a big team. And then you switch it up and play traditional 4-3-3 against the lower teams who sit back because a diamond's not going to work. The way Solskjaer set up against Tottenham was wrong. The way Solskjaer has set up Man U this season has been wrong. His tactics have not been right, which is why there's reports that Ed Woodward, the glorious man that he is, has decided to contact Mauricio Pochettino about getting him in. Because if Solskjaer goes on coaching Manchester United as he has done this season so far, they will finish in 16th where they're currently at. They are abysmal.
Yeah, luckily for Man United fans, he's had a decent transfer deadline day, which we'll get onto in a bit with the signs of Cavani, Alex Tellez, Palucci, I want to say his name, and Amad Traore, I think it is. I think they are 4 players who can make a difference. Obviously, it depends if we'll see Palucci and Traore out of the actual under 23 squad and into the actual Manchester United first team. Oh my God. But yeah, I think Tellez and Cavani could be real lethal. Cavani went on social media and showed a video of him training or just getting fit in the Manchester United shirt, which Man United fans are very happy about because you can see he's committed to the club and he wants to get back to full fitness. Hopefully he can have sort of a Zlatan Ibrahimovic effect on the actual first team, that big name who comes in front, which Man United seems to do quite a lot with. Ibrahimovic, who worked there a few years ago, Falcao, I think it was. Did he play for Man United?
Falcao was disastrous.
Yeah, well, yeah, but signing these big name players who, yeah. Anyway, nevertheless, I think Cavani could hopefully come in and really make a difference because God knows Man United need it. And have you seen that thing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came out and said about how he gave Ed Woodward a list of targets and not a single one of them was brought to the club?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on when it comes to obviously the transfers and stuff about how bad they were in the market, because obviously we've got some stuff to say on that. But just to quickly round up on Man U, Harry Maguire is not an £80 million player. He's not worthy of the Manchester United armband. Eric Bailly's atrocious. Luke Shaw's a disaster. Wan-Bissaka's not good enough. He's just not good enough. Pogba was off it. Matic, disaster. Bruno Fernandes, overrated.
Possibly.
Rashford and Martial and Greenwood all played poor. That entire Manchester United 11 were poor, off it, and not worthy to wear that shirt.
Yeah, they need a big kick up there. Yeah. But nevertheless, Man United's a club with so much history, and we hope that they can, well, I don't know about Josh, but I hope they can get back to actually fighting for titles. But whether it's going to be with Solskjaer at the helm, whether if they're going to be able to do it with the likes of Maguire and Bailly in defence, I think that's the first thing they need to straight away sort out. Tellez is sort of building towards that, but yeah, we need more from them.
They're too big of a team not to be challenging for the title. I mean, let us know what you think in the comments below about what Liverpool and Man U's players were like this weekend. But the way both of them are playing this season, neither of them are going to be challenging for that title, which is what they need to be doing. On the 5th of October, the transfer window came to a close and the Premier League saw lots of action on deadline day. One of which was, well, Arsenal, I say got their man, he was more of their second choice. They paid the buyout clause for Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. 45 million quid, overpriced, gonna flop for Arsenal. Gab, on to you.
That was the most Yorkshire thing for you to say, 45 million quid I've ever heard. I disagree. I don't know if Thomas Partey will flop. I think they've needed a player like him for years now. Obviously, they've got rid of Guendouzi to, I think it worked. Right? Alex just had this up.
Hertha Berlin, I think.
Who? Yeah, Heather Billy. They just got rid of him, who was sort of, I don't want to say CDM because he's not on the same level as Thomas Partey, but Thomas Partey's played at a world-class level for years now for Atletico Madrid. He's played in Champions League experience. He's not exactly old. I think he's 25, 26, something like that. I'm not too sure. But he's starting to enter his prime. He's a good holding midfielder. He can break up play, move from defence to midfield, and then obviously can help midfield to get to attack. He hasn't really got a great goal and scoring record, but then again, not his role. But I think he could be. Josh is yawning, and that's completely thrown me off there. I think he could be a really good signing for them, to be honest. I think if Arsenal want to play their best sort of formation with, I don't know where I'm going with this, Ceballos. Who else are they playing in him in now? God, I can't remember. I was watching them the other day. I don't even think about it.
They play people.
Give us a minute.
For me, Thomas Partey, he's not going to fit into the Arsenal system. He's going to have to replace someone. And I don't see why they I don't see why they need another defensive midfielder.
Yeah, Arsenal plays apparently a 4-3-3 with Mohamed El Neni, Dani Ceballos, and it says here Saka in centre mid. I don't know if that's true. With Aubameyang, Nketiah, and Willian as the front three.
But Thomas Partey is going to have to replace Dani Ceballos because he's the holding midfielder.
Or then again, because Arteta planning on playing Ceballos in a more of an advanced role, maybe with Ceballos on one side. I don't know if he's going to play El Nene with him. I don't know about that, but you imagine you'd have another centre mid in the squad who would play there.
He could play a 4-2-3-1, have Partey as the number 6, have Ceballos as the number 8, and have someone like Saka as the number 10. But for me, Danny Ceballos does everything Thomas Partey does. He breaks up the play, he goes defence to attack. Yes, he might want to play Ceballos as a higher role, and Thomas Partey is going to be the permanent option. But 45 million is overpriced. He was his buyout clause. He's not worth 45 million. 30 maybe. 45 definitely not.
Yeah, I think maybe he's Arteta trying to experiment with Ceballos and Partey as two main CDMs with Saka ahead of them until like a 4-2-3-1 perhaps, with Aubameyang and Willian on either side then. And Nketiah as the main striker. But then again, you got Nicolas Pepe still to come in. Huh?
I literally just said that 2 minutes ago.
Oh, did you?
The 4-2-3-1.
The audio is really quiet in my thing, so I can't really hear what's going on, to be honest with you. However, nonetheless, I mean, you look at the Arsenal team, they got a good result against Sheffield United. Was it worth spending that much money, like Sykes just said then? I did hear that bit about Partey. Probably not. I think if I did get don't know how to pronounce his name, Husam Ayuwa? No idea. But yeah, I think if they got him, he would have been better suited because he can play as a more defensive and a bit more attacking if needs be, which Ceballos probably could have worked better with. I think Partey could be a decent signing. I think obviously we need to see how Arteta's going to set up with him in this club. But yeah, I mean, I hope he does well because when you spend that big of a price on someone, you want him to do well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, he screams Thomas Lemar. Arsenal wanted to buy him the other season. They offered Atletico. No, he wasn't. He was at Monaco, I think. 90 million for him, and they turned it down. And that was in January, though. And then in the summer, he went to Atletico Madrid for 60. Might have even been less than that. Yeah, but for me, it screams panic buys as Thomas Partey. But anyway, enough on Arsenal. On to Everton. They signed Ben Godfrey from Norwich for 30 million. 30 million? That's wrong. I thought it was like 20 million. Either way,
I thought it was like 15, 20 million.
Either way, it's overpriced. At the end of the day, he was part of the leakiest defence in the Premier League last season as a centre-back. Why would they buy him? It just makes no sense. You've got the two full-backs, Max Aarons and I know the guy. Yeah, that one. They were wanted by Barcelona, PSG because they were good. Their two centre-backs were not. So for me, Ben Godfrey, one, he's not worth what he was signed for, considering his Premier League time consisted of shipping 80 goals. So I don't see why Everton have gone and bought him. It could scream the likes of an Andy Robertson situation where Liverpool bought him from relegated Hull, but that's just like a fullback. It's not defence. Like, they're more attacking. You've got Ben Godfrey as a centre-back. He's got to be defensive, and quite clearly, it's not if he's shipping 80 goals.
Yeah, I think that being said, it's always less of a risk to actually bring a fullback in like Robertson, because obviously they can't really, it affects the game that heavily, so you can't really blame a fullback for the relegation. But with getting a relegated centre-back, it is always a big risk because whilst he's 21, 22-year-old now, he's still young. I'm interested to see where he's going to come in because obviously Yeremina is playing quite well for Everton right now. He scored against Brighton on Saturday. Michael Keane isn't exactly doing bad. I think did he get called up to the England squad?
But he's an England regular.
Yeah, quite well. But obviously, them two have got a good partnership with the back now, and Seamus Coleman and Lucas Digne, they're unlikely to be replaced. Yeah, sorry, I was just checking. So I don't know if he's going to come in as a backup. So I think if it is 25 million for a backup, that's a bit steep. And however, Ancelotti is well known for transforming players, like he's done with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now one of the favourites to go up front and partner Harry Kane, which we talked about in a recent podcast. I think, will he bring Ben Godfrey and perhaps give him Yeremina's role, or will he maybe be trying to implement him ahead of Seamus Coleman in right back, maybe try him out as a new position? I know he has played defensive midfield before when he was in the lower leagues. I think he was at Shrewsbury when he did that. Maybe he's going to try play him in that position, try and just, I don't know, transform him into a new sort of player. But it's a big risk bringing him in for that amount of money, because if it fails and he flops, then like Everton have seen in recent years with other players such as, can't think of who's flop, Gylfi Sigurdsson. I don't know how much he came in for him, but he hasn't been great. 50, oh my God. Yeah, I just think that's a bit of a risky signing. Yeah.
On to the next one now. We're going to try and rush through a couple of these that we maybe don't know so well because this podcast is dragging on after our first section. We have Amad Traore going from Atalanta to Manchester United for 27.2 million. He didn't play that well last season, scored 3 goals, I think, in Serie A. Probably overpriced, going to stick in there under 23s, Gab.
What?
Did you not hear a word of what I just said?
Amad Traore, but we don't know enough about him because I've never even heard of him until Man United showed interest in him. He'll probably just go in there on 23, like Josh just said, but I think he's 16 years old or 17 years old, so the price tag, which always gets put on a youngster like that, it can be a bit risky and it can be a bit like dwelling on them. So hopefully he'll be able to overcome the pressure and actually break into Man United squad. It's what?
He's 18 now.
Is he our age?
He was born July 11th, 2002. So
he's a year older.
A year above us.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so the next one is Alex Telles, who's gone from Porto to Manchester United for 15.5 million. Really good signing for Man U. Will definitely replace Luke Shaw on the left-hand side. Going to bring a lot of defensive cover and is a lot better going forward than Luke Shaw.
Yep.
Okay. The next one is Edinson Cavani going from PSG to Manchester United on a free. Could screen Zlatan Ibrahimovic, like we said earlier. That's what Gab thinks, in my opinion. Probably going to flop. He's PSG's all-time top goal scorer. Yes, he's been really good for Uruguay and everything like that, and he's a PSG god. But he's past it. He's, I think, 33 now, maybe older than that.
Yeah.
And that's why PSG released him, because of his age, and Manchester United have just bought him as a panic buy to kind of, for Ed Woodward to go to the fans and go, look, we're not that bad. We've brought in Edinson Cavani. Yes, but he's desperate and he was on a free. Not really your genius there, is it, Ed? The next one is Rodrigo Vilca has gone from Deportivo Municipal to Newcastle for an undisclosed fee. Not a clue who he is. So
I've never heard of him, honestly.
The next one is Theo Walcott going from Everton to his boyhood Southampton on loan. Gonna flop. He's 31 now, I think.
I think he'll be a really good signing.
He's not the energetic 16-year-old that left Southampton all like 13 years ago. He's just not, and that's what Southampton fans are going to be expecting, and that's not what they're going to get. He could be good for him, but he's not going to be what they expect. The next one is Facundo Pelistri from Club Atletico Penarol to Manchester United for an undisclosed fee. Again, the same as Traore. Probably just going to go in there under 23s or just be a fringe player, not going to lie.
Yeah.
The next one is Rafinha has gone from Rennes to Leeds for an undisclosed fee. I reckon that could be a decent signing for them, to be honest with you.
Well, there is a rumour about that signing, which I've seen on social media, probably wrong if I'm being completely honest, how he wanted to move. There's another team interested, but I can't remember who it was. I think it might be Mainz or something like that. It was a German club, I think it was. They were interested in him. However, because I think Leeds offered more or something like that, he was actually told he had to join Leeds and he was refusing, so he had to join Leeds despite not wanting to be at the club. That could be completely wrong, so don't come at the Benchwarmers Podcast and start us. It won't surprise me. He wants to be in Leeds. But apparently that's a rumour going around. But, I mean, I'm not saying hopefully it's not true because I don't like Leeds, but hopefully it's not true.
Yeah. So the next one is Joachim Andersen has gone from Lyon to Fulham on a loan. I had him in a FIFA career mode a couple of years ago. That's what I'm basing this off. He's a decent prospect. Pretty solid defender, I guess. Is he going to shore up Fulham's back line? No. Are they going to get relegated still? Yes. The next one is Robin Olsen. Goalkeeper's gone from Roma to Everton. Why? Probably to replace Jonas Losel as their second, or, my opinion, should replace Jordan Pickford as their number one, because we all know Ancelotti doesn't like Mr. T-Rex arms. Lastly, is Ruben Loftus-Cheek has gone from Chelsea to Fulham on loan. Again, is he going to work for Fulham? No. Why has he gone to Fulham? Because there's better players at Chelsea. And is he going to work at Fulham? No, because they play the wrong system to accommodate him.
I want to say I think that could be a good signing. We saw how he did it at Crystal Palace a few years ago. I think he can definitely do it in the Premier League, just hasn't really had the chance to really shine, I guess, in that Chelsea side.
You've got to remember, Crystal Palace play a different system to Fulham. He worked at Crystal Palace's system.
But he's not far from home.
I know, but is he going to work in a Fulham system that ships goals when he's one of those players whose head goes down immediately?
I mean, as a footballer, you kind of need to change that attitude, don't you? If you want to, I don't want to make it, because it's already made it.
Yeah. So that's the Premier League done for deadline day now. So what?
I have a transfer I want to quickly talk to you about. I'm not waving at you. I'm just trying to get your attention.
I was just going to run through like quick transfers of every other league now.
Okay, well, I'll quick one. Let's get to like Premier League then. What are your thoughts on Ryan Sessegnon move to Hoffenheim? This wasn't Premier League from Tottenham Hotspur.
I was going to get onto that.
Yeah, on loan. I just want to quickly say, I think it's so. Yeah, go on then. We'll do that.
I'm just going to quickly run through some Serie A ones, such as Chris Smalling going from Manchester United to Roma for £13.5 million after impressed on loan last season. Gerard Deulofeu, who's gone from Watford to Udinese on loan, which for me, Watford probably shouldn't have let him go. That's the important ones from Serie A. Sorry if you're any other fan. Oh, Federico Chiesa has gone from Fiorentina to Juventus. That's a good sign. Yeah. It's a part ownership deal, whatever that means.
It'll mean that he owns that club and the other club. Like Watford and Udinese, they have the same owners. That's why they sell players to each other so much.
No, but it's a part ownership, so it could mean that Fiorentina own him, but he's just playing for Juventus. Is
it a loan deal?
No, it's a part ownership deal.
Not sure. Maybe we can play some games for Fiorentina, but some for Juventus. I don't know.
If someone can tell us, please do. On to the Bundesliga now. Eric Choupo-Moting has the best agent in the world because he's managed to secure a move from PSG to Bayern Munich. God knows how that man's still playing football. Douglas Costa's gone from Juventus to Bayern Munich on loan. Matteo Guendouzi's gone from Arsenal to Hertha Berlin on loan because Arteta doesn't like him. And now Gab, Ryan Sessegnon, Tottenham to Hoffenheim on loan. Is it a good signing? For him, yes, because we all know how good young English players are in the Bundesliga. The likes of Jadon Sancho, Nelson for Hoffenheim last season, or it might have been the season before. So young English players do well in the Bundesliga. Do I think Sessegnon's going to do the same? Yes. Do I think it's a good move for Tottenham? Yes and no. No, because he's a good player who's versatile. So he could be used as a backup option like last season. But also yes, because he's now getting a full season away from Tottenham to improve his game.
Yeah, I think, like I said before, we've seen success stories come out of the Bundesliga in terms of Premier League players going there on loan. However, I think, I'm not saying it's Sessegnon's fault that he's not really breaking into the Tottenham team. I don't believe he should ever have left Fulham. I mean, I feel like he needed to do that because obviously Fulham were relegated and he was like, I need a big move. I don't want to play Championship football. I deserve to be in the Premier League. But he's kind of come to Premier League and just flopped, if you're being completely honest. The resigning of Regulion to, probably just about completely messed up that name. Regulion, is that right? Regulion?
What, you're on about the Tottenham fullback?
Yeah.
Yeah, Regulion.
Yeah. Regulion to Tottenham, that's probably just kind of like summed up why Sessegnon's gone away. I mean, he was kind of just replaced because he wasn't really doing good enough. I don't know who else Tottenham have at left back, come to think of it. Danny Rose?
Davis, Danny Rose.
Oh, yeah, God.
Danny Rose.
It's a very difficult position at Tottenham right now to get into if he wants to play in that left back or the left wing position that he can play. I hope he'll go to Hoffenheim and do really well, but I feel like it's a bit underwhelming. I think a great move for him would be to return to Fulham on loan while they're in the Premier League. Even if I don't know if he fits their system anymore, like we were talking about before, but I hope he does well because it's another example of an English talent like a Jack Wilshere. Not saying injuries have really ruined him, but he's kind of just sort of faltered away when he had so much potential at one point.
Okay, and finally on to Liga, and there's only one interesting deal on deadline day, which was Rafinha from Barcelona to PSG for an undisclosed fee. Yeah, apparently. So that rounds up our transfer deadline day little talk. The transfer window in England is still open until the 16th of October for domestic buys. So that week we will come back and see what's happened in the last, week or so, if I'm honest.
You know what we should do? We should do an EFL special for deadline day.
Probably should, because we did one of those last season. Let us know your thoughts on the transfers in the comments below. And yeah, let us know if you think we're idiots.
I just want to quickly say as well, that Federico Chiesa, who's joining Juventus, it's a 2-year loan deal with an option to buy at the end of it, which might be why, because it's like basically a 3-year contract for him, but he has the option to leave after 2 if he wants to and return to Fiorentina. So it's like Fiorentina still own him, but he's playing for Juventus. But say he doesn't want to play for them anymore, they can he can go back whenever he wants.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a win-win.
Yeah, interested. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Well, here's a shock. We've made it to week 2. Welcome to the Benchwarmers fixture roundup with me, Josh Sykes. So we're going to be starting off with Saturday's results. We start off with the lunchtime kickoff, which was Chelsea against Crystal Palace. Gab predicted 2-1 Chelsea. I predicted 2-1 Crystal Palace. The actual score, 4-0 Chelsea. The next one was Everton against Brighton in what was sure to be a goal fest. Gab predicted 3-0 Everton. I predicted 3-1 Everton. The actual score, 4-2 Everton. The next one was a Bielsa against Pep Guardiola classic. I predicted 1-1. Gab predicted 2-1 to Manchester City. The actual score, 1-1. The next affair was Newcastle against Burnley in Newcastle. I predicted 0-0. Gab predicted 1-0 Burnley. The actual score, 3-1 Newcastle. The next one was Leicester against West Ham, where we both predicted 2-1 to Leicester. The actual result was West Ham 3-0. We are incredible at our jobs. Next, we have Southampton against West Brom. We both predicted Southampton to win. Gab 1-0, me 3-1. The actual result, 2-0. The next affair was Arsenal against Sheffield United. I predicted 3-0 Arsenal. Gab predicted 2-0 Arsenal. The actual result was 2-1 to the Gunners. The next result, we're on to Sunday in case you haven't worked that out already, is Wolves against Fulham, where I predicted 2-0, Gab predicted 4-0. The actual result was 1-0. To be fair, Wolves should be very disappointed considering Fulham have conceded 3 goals in practically every game since their existence. The next one was the 5:30 kickoff on Sunday, which was Manchester United Tottenham Hotspur. Now, Gab predicted 1-1. I predicted Man U to win 1-0, which means I was correct up until around about the 4th minute, in which case Spurs won 6-1. And the final result of the weekend was Aston Villa against Liverpool, where Gab predicted an upset with 1-0 Villa. I predicted a comfortable Liverpool 3-1 win, and whilst it was a comfortable victory for one of the teams, it was not Liverpool, and it was in fact 7-2 to Aston Villa with an Ollie Watkins hat-trick, which just shows Jurgen Klopp is a tin pot manager. Okay, so on to our league table. So this week we both are tied on 6 points each, which means altogether after 1, 2, 3 weeks of predictions, Gab sits ahead on 17 points, whilst I sit last on 15 because there are only 2 of us. And if you didn't know what our bet was, at this rate I am going to be walking around for an entire day in a Bradford kit, so I better get my act into gear. Now, thank you for tuning into the Benchwarmers not transfer roundup at all, it's the Benchwarmers fixture roundup. We hope you has enjoyed it, as once again, I haven't because it is extremely warm sat in this suit. Thank you, and good night.
Right. That was too loud, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Bad start. Right, as you can see, probably didn't expect to see this, but we are now together all of a sudden from being over a Zoom call.
Power of teleportation for you.
Yeah, it's one day later because we realised the podcast was about half an hour long, and well, can't really call it a podcast, it's just a video then at that point. But nevertheless, we're going to be quickly talking through the England game which happened last night. Well, on the time of recording, the game hadn't happened, but now at this time of recording, it has happened.
So at the time of recording, it has actually happened, as Gab quite clearly butchered.
Teleportation. But yeah, England played Wales in an international friendly at the Wembley.
Yes, it was Wembley.
I didn't even watch the game, to be completely honest with you, but to the stats, England had 57.1% possession compared to Wales' 42.9% possession.
Can you not round up?
I probably should have done that. England had 8 shots compared to Wales' 7. 6 of those England shots were on target out of 8, which is actually really good, to be fair, in terms of actual shot conversion. That's not right when he's scoring it.
Moving on.
Yeah, in terms of the actual on target shots, Wales only had 2 out of their 7, so Wales need to work on that, lads. You only got Gareth Bale, and I don't know who played up front for Wales.
Some Leeds guy, Tyler Roberts, I think.
Tyler Roberts, that's it, yeah, Tyler Roberts.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we've got the players like Calvert-Lewin, Danny Ings up top, Harry Kane, I don't think he played, but...
No, he wasn't even on the bench because Jose Mourinho threatened Gareth Southgate.
Did he? Is that why he went on the bench?
Yeah, he basically said Harry Kane is not going to be playing in the international friendly against Wales as there's no need to have him playing.
If I was Southgate, I would have played him just to try and annoy Jose Mourinho.
No, I wouldn't have done. There's no need to play him.
In terms of the actual passes, England, 88% of England's passes were actually precise and on target, which is really good to see again, whereas 83% of Wales's were. England had 7 key passes compared to Wales's 4, which probably did lead to the goals. I haven't even seen the goals, to be honest with you. We should do more research for our videos.
I watched the game.
Yeah, I mean, none of these stats necessarily lie. Wales had 3 yellow cards. England had none. England committed 16 fouls. No, they committed 14 fouls and didn't get a single yellow card or red card. So, great game. Josh, you want to talk us through it as soon as you actually watched it?
I do, yes. So England started off with, they played 5 at the back. The actual lineup for England, in case you didn't watch the game, was Nick Pope, Joe Gomez, Conor Cody, Michael Keane, Kieran Trippier, Calvin Phillips, Harry Winks, Bukayo Saka, Danny Ings, Jack Grealish and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or as we call him, Big Dom. Now then, I don't like the way Southgate is playing England at the minute. If I'm honest, he's playing far too defensive. People were ripping into Jack Grealish after the game yesterday, even though he got man of the match, saying that he was dropping far too deep. The reason he was dropping deep is because we have no creativity from deep. You've got Calvin Phillips and Harry Winks, who are both defensive midfielders, playing together. And you've got Jack Grealish ahead of him, who is the...
5 at the back as well.
Yeah, who is the only source of creativity. It has to be Jack Grealish. He was playing a floating 10 role, which is good because that is what he's good at. And he has to drop back to be able to bring the ball forward and actually create some chances, which we saw in the 22nd minute with Calvert-Lewin's goal. Grealish receives the ball on the right-hand side of the box, plays a lovely ball into Calvert-Lewin, who heads it in from close range. That is Dominic Calvert-Lewin's first England goal on his first England appearance.
Congratulations, Big Dom.
Yeah. Okay, so... As for England, before that goal, they were very shaky. They didn't look comfortable on the ball, at the back, or off the ball for that matter. Joe Gomez carried on his poor performance from Sunday into the start of the game. He looked shaky off the ball. England were playing far too high of a line again, even though they were playing 5 at the back. Wales were getting in behind quite often, and Joe Gomez wasn't there to cover Kieran Trippier when he was high that much. Yes, Gab, that is the...
Sorry, I was looking at
That's the Wales lineup, yes.
I'm guessing, by the way, that it was actually Ings and Calvert-Lewin up top and Grealish behind them.
Nope, that was the formation.
Ings is in like Cam.
Yeah, pretty much. Half the time it did more players or 2 up top with Danny Ings, with Jack Grealish as the floating 10 running across.
Yeah.
But that's how it says the formation.
Still though, like, you don't want to be seeing this, like, take off that hat, you can't see us, I don't know why I'm doing that. Take off Grealish and Calvert-Lewin, and you've literally, that is ridiculous defensive.
The only 2 attacking players are Trippier and Saka, but at the end of the day they're playing wing backs. Yes, they provide the width, but you're still playing 5 defensive players.
And still, it's risky playing Saka there, because I don't think he's used to playing that role, whereas Trippier probably more is. I don't know how he plays for Atletico Madrid.
He plays right back, he doesn't play right wing back for Atletico Madrid.
Why don't you use the players in their not normal positions? Don't play 3 at the back. Gomez is out of form and clearly he's not going to attend the game right now, so you don't play Gomez in there. We're complaining about 3-0 win here. But I would have just literally...
Benchwarmers Podcast, everyone.
Put Trippier in right back. Leave Cody and Keenan, because Cody obviously did quite well getting himself a goal.
You called him Keeney?
I didn't mean to, if I did, I'm so sorry. I can't even talk right now. I wouldn't say drop Saka necessarily, because I don't know how he played, obviously, but he's been doing well in the Arsenal. He scored at the weekend. But you bring the left back. Surely we had a left back on the bench.
No.
God, what? Oh, we have Tyrone Mings. He could have played there. Even if we're going to do that, then I just don't get why we're setting up against like a team like Wales, who we are clearly a lot better than.
Yeah, but anyway, on to the rest of the game, and Conor Cody scored his first England senior goal. The ball comes in from, I think it was a set piece, or it just might have been a regular cross. Conor Cody said after the game that Calvert-Lewin had told him to swap positions, so instead of Calvert-Lewin being on the far post, it would be Conor Cody on the far post. The ball comes in, Conor Cody, beautiful half volley into the back of the net, just pokes it in. Huddersfield lad, not from Huddersfield, he's from Liverpool.
Yeah, played for Huddersfield?
Yeah, played for an entire season before he went to Wolves in 14-15 campaign. Made 46 appearances, I think. And then as for Danny Ings' goal, it was an overhead kick from close range. he managed to move away from a Welsh defender and find a social distance gap in the box, let's say that. That's how poor Wales' defence was.
I mean, it's great to see Wales abiding to the social distancing guidelines with
even in a game. And so Danny Evans scored an overhead kick in what was, after the first goal, a pretty comfortable England performance. Wales didn't really challenge us after that. Nick Pope looked quite solid in goal, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Definitely should be our number one ahead of Jordan Pickford. But we all know when we go and play Denmark next week, or the weekend, whenever we do actually play them, Jordan Pickford will continue in goal with his
T-Rex arms.
Yeah, that one, which we, as you can tell, we're not a massive fan of Jordan Pickford.
Yeah, did you see that what I put on my Snapchat story today?
I did not know.
About England's goalkeeper from our first ever episode, and about how you ripped into Jordan Pickford, and we're literally doing it still to this day.
I know. It's just things you love to see. It really, really is. But yeah, overall, England played well. Wales they were all right. They were good for Wales, but it was always expected to be an England win. I'm happy Gareth Southgate played the likes of Conor Cody, Phillips, Winks, Saka especially, Ings, Grealish and Calvert-Lewin. Jack Grealish should definitely be starting at the Euros in the summer, should he continue his run of form, which I'm sure he will. And as for Tammy Abraham, Jadon Sancho and Ben Chilwell, who were all involved in a party at the weekend, they have now all been called back up to the England squad and will be available for selection against Belgium for the final game.
Do we not have to self-isolate?
Do they not?
Because they've been to a party?
No, they just all get tested probably.
Oh yeah, of course.
But, yeah.
On top of that as well, it's quite, well, I'm not saying controversial, but good timing how after the podcast we talked about two England strikers who could start and so they can and do well, Calvert-Lewin and Danny Ings, who we were both arguing about, well not arguing, but debating about, them two come in and both scored goals. Yeah, good time.
Yeah, obviously we could talk about Conor Cody arguing for that other number 9 position. I'm not joking.
He's golden enough. I mean, if Harry Kane's got it, you'd be like, yeah, fair play.
No, Conor Cody's a good defender, he's right. Wolves are good to have him as their club captain, and he was captain for England as well.
Was it? Was that his first game for us?
Trippier started off as captain. He got taken off then, handed the armband for Gomez for a whole 4 seconds.
Oh, God.
Before Gomez got brought off, and then the armband went to Conor Cody, who was captain for the last 30 minutes of the match.
Yeah, congratulations, Conor Cody.
Well done, Conor Cody, on not only your first England senior start, your first England senior captaincy. Let us know what you think in the comments below about the England game and about anything else you saw, such as Belgium due to Ivory Coast. Let us know what you think in the comments below about England, our opinions on them, and how big of idiots we are. As well as quite smart, we are intelligent, I promise you we are.
We are not. I mean, if you also watch any of the games, we'll just quickly run through them. Uzbekistan, bad start. Won Iran 2, South Africa won Namibia, never even heard of it.
Namibia.
Namibia won.
Yeah.
Russia 2, Sweden 2. Belgium versus New Zealand was cancelled.
Because Belgium played Ivory Coast.
Strange. Belgium won, Ivory Coast 1, and of course England 3, Wales 0.
Obviously then you have the European qualifying games, of which, let me try and find it, I think Erling Haaland will not be appearing at the Euros next year.
Why?
Because they lost to Serbia.
Oh, I forgot he's Norwegian.
Yep, they lost to Serbia. Northern Ireland will be there, Republic of Ireland won't be there, I don't think.
There's a lot of people saying that Northern Ireland could be playing Republic of Ireland.
No, they can't, because I don't think Republic of Ireland have gone through.
Probably not. But yeah, actually, yeah.
Let us know in the comments below. I've said this for the 3rd time, but I'm going to say it again because we keep meaning to end it and we just don't.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Let us know in the comments below what you think of the England game, the European qualifiers, and how you think England are going to do in the remaining 2 games against Denmark and Belgium in the Nations League.
That's going to bring this week's episode of the Benchwarmers Podcast to a close. As usual, I'd like to thank my co-host, Sykes.
Thank you for having me again, Gab.
Yes, we are expecting to get a few guests on. I teased it on Twitter a bit in terms of saying we are going to be getting some people on soon. We've had to reschedule a few things, which is a bit unfortunate, and we've had a really bit of a weird week in terms of the actual podcast with things going on. But yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed, and we'll see you on this week.